Yahweh, Barakati Yahushai, Barakati Yahweh, Barakati Yahushai, Barakati Yahweh, Barakata Yahushai. First and foremost, I want to give all praise and glory and honor to Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Rukakodash. Double on Apostle, Alice of Great Millstone, peace and salutation to you, beloved Akim, that is pushing this word in sincerity and truth with humiliation all across the forwards. To you, I salute. This is the brother's desire, one back at you, the everlasting to the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. And I want to get in this article going into these earthquakes, you see? Going into these earthquakes. It says, swarm of over 30 earthquakes strike near San Ramon, strongest being 4.2 USGS. All right. Swarm of over 30 earthquakes strikes near San Ramon, a city in I think it's California. You know, and hey, these are one of the things y'all wish I said to look for. Earthquakes in diverse places. All right, earthquakes is plural. All right. It says San Ramon, California. Dozens of earthquakes shook the Bay Area Monday morning as a swarm of tremblers struck near San Ramon, according to the U.S. Geological Survey. The largest was 4.2 magnitude, centered in San Ramon, that hit at 7:01 a.m. This followed a 3.8 quake that struck at 6:27 a.m. amid a flurry of over 30 earthquakes. A flurry of over 30 earthquakes. That's some shit. USGS said the 4.2 quake was about 9.4 km in depth. Kilometers in depth. It says on Monday afternoon, there were more earthquakes, according to USGS. A 2.5 at 2:06 p.m., a preliminary magnitude 3.1 at 2:56 p.m., a 3.0 at 3:04 p.m., and a reported 2.9 at 3:06 p.m. That's a flurry of earthquakes. There have been no reports of injuries or major damage. Video from a San Ramon 7-Eleven on Kimball and Alcosta Boulevard shows products falling off shelves during one of the earthquakes. So we're seeing a flurry of earthquakes, even though no reports of damage, no reports of injury, neither no major damage. But the Lord Yahweh Shai say these are things to look for before his return. You know? All right? We in the end, and he's only going to intensify and get worse. Okay? The USGS said the swarm is likely to a continuation of one local saw over the last several weeks in San Ramon Valley between Walnut Creek and Dublin. On Friday, the area saw its first earthquake in several weeks, but there have been dozens of quakes since November. Some residents and workers tell ABC7 Eyewitness News that while the number of quakes back-to-back is surprising, they are somewhat used to it. They get desensitized. Because bodies start dropping. One Dublin man said the shaking first woke him up, but that he is familiar with these swarms. 20 to 25 years ago, there was one that lasted a couple weeks. They weren't big, but just like this, he said. Rogelio Oropeza, an employee at the Bagel Street Cafe, said that they were preparing for the morning rush when the earthquake shook the business. Everything was moving. The doors, the waters, the soda machine, everything is moving very, very bad, said Oropeza. Throughout the early morning, dozens of shakes continued to hit the region. There are about 45 people in the pool at the San Ramon Olympic Pool and Aquatic Park. The first one that hit, I actually felt it rolling towards us, and the pool sort of jumped a little bit. And I say, oh, that was a nice little earthquake. And maybe 5 to 10 minutes later, the second rolled through. That was sort of low, and then half an hour, 20 minutes later, the big one hit, and quite a few people felt that one. So they getting sensitized. And the building, the roof sort of rattled, said Greg Lynch, head coach for the Master San Ramon Pool. The pool crew checked for issues and deemed it safe. The States Office of Emergency Services monitoring this activity. There's really nothing that will tell you that there's a large earthquake on the horizon. I could tell you that anything above a 4.0 is something to definitely keep your eyes on and definitely draws attention to. But again, we have hundreds of earthquakes in our state each year, said John Goodell, CA Earthquake Early Warning Program for California Governor's Office of Emergency Service. The USGS says this storm is likely continuation of one local saw over the last several weeks in the San Ramon Valley between Walnut Creek and Dublin. All right. These earthquakes, some are going to be bigger than others, and some are going to be felt. Robert DeGroot and USGS said many of them are very small. So the significance is that this particular sequence is just continuing, and we know that this has happened in the past. You see that? So you get used to feeling those shakings. All right. But this one of the things Yahushua said to look for. All right. Let's get it. This is Matthew 24:3. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, what shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of the coming and of the end of the world, or the end of an age, or eon? And Yahushua answered and said unto him, Take heed that no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Mashiach, and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be no trouble, for all these things must come to pass. But the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be famines, and pestilences, and earthquakes in divers places, meaning various places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. You see that? All these are the beginning of sorrows. Now, check this out, right? I go on and look at with the AI overview. What did the Yahushai mean said earthquake in diverse places? Check this out. When Yahushai, even though they say Jesus, says when Yahushai mentioned earthquakes in diverse places or various places, and all of it discourse, he was providing a sign of the approaching end of the age. Contextually, they brought the scriptures a lot. Matthew 24:7, Mark 13:8, and Luke 21:11. Okay, going in the same thing. Contextually, this phrase means that these natural disasters will not be isolated to one region, but would occur globally and sporadically. You see that? And that's what's happening. Increasing in intensity as the time of his return draws near. So it's going to keep on increasing. It says, here's a breakdown of what Yahushai meant, beginning of birth pangs, signs of times. Yahushai explicitly categorized earthquakes along with famines, pestilences, and wars as the beginning of sorrows or birth pains. This is a part of the sorrows or birth pains, these earthquakes. The analogy, like labor contraction, these events are expected to increase in frequency and intensity, signaling that a new era is coming, the kingdom of Yahweh. But the immediate moment is not yet the final end. So these things must happen. These necessary. Not the end itself. Yahushua warned that while these things must happen, the end is not yet. Matthew 24:6, indicating these are a prelude to greater, more intense tribulation. You see that? So these bad times are coming on this earth. This is the beginning of birth pangs, signs of time. It says diverse in various places, global scope. Diverse places refers to a widespread global occurrence rather than a localized event. Widespread all over. It's just that no part of the world is completely exempt from these upheavals. So even over here, these people over here, they saying earthquakes happen in other countries. We don't know what the Most High got stored for you. Or the old people used to say, the old folks used to say, once you're dead, you don't pass nothing. So we don't know. All right. It refers to widespread global occurrence. Okay. So it could happen anytime, anywhere. Wherever the Most High wish to send it. Some interpretations suggest it implies unprecedented widespread seismic activity that shakes the stability of the world. Okay. Spiritual and symbolic meaning. In biblical prophecy, earthquakes often represent more than just physical movement on Earth's crust. divine judgment. Earthquakes are frequently associated with God intervention, judgment on sin and power. Example, Mount Sinai and Exodus 19 and 18. Shaking the foundation, they serve as a moral megaphone, calling people to repent and highlighting that earthly structures, physical and spiritual, are not stable. Groaning of creation, it aligns with the conception in Romans 8:20 that all creation groans, waiting to be redeemed. All right. Okay. So you see that's powerful. All right. Let me go into summary. In summary, earthquakes and diverse periods are a sign of the last days. Natural disasters that, when combined with geopolitical conflict and famine, indicate that the world is under strain and in need of the kingdom of Yahweh. All right, so these things must come. All right, these things must happen. Okay, because we looking for a new heaven and a new earth, a dwelling in righteousness. All right, so these things must happen. The sign of judgment. All right, these things must happen. Okay, these things must happen. All right. Let's get the one in Second Esdras. I think in Second Esdras. Okay, I think it's Second Esdras chapter 90. Salakia. Yeah. Second Esdras 9 and 1. He measured Salakia. He answered me then, just a little excited, and said, He answered me then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest parts of the signs pass, which I have told thee before. All right, how do we measure time? Through the prophecies, through the scriptures, the holy scriptures. We go back to the scriptures. That's how we measure the times. All right. Then shalt thou understand that is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. And we seen that. Therefore, when there should be seen earthquakes, you see earthquakes again, that's plural, and uproars of the people in the world, we've been saying that thou shalt well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. For like us all that is made in the world had a beginning and an end. The end is manifest. Me in the end of the end, last seconds of the end. All right. Okay, the wickedness of this kingdom must come to an end. All right, our kingdom is coming next. All right, so these things must happen. As you see, I brought up the AI overview. All right, so hey, we in some beautiful times. All right, we don't know where these earthquakes will strike next, or we don't know, because various places the scripture say. You see that? A swarm of 30 earthquakes. They get so descended that they used to, the Most High ain't dropped no bodies. You see, they used to feeling that. But we in those times at the end. We in those times. All right? But I just wanted to bring out your spirit and power of Yahweh, but Shem Yahshua was edifying. Yeah, man, Shalom.